All right. So for those of you who don't know me, I work at West Coast NFT. West Coast is known as the development company behind some of the biggest names in NFTs, such as Doodles, MFers, and Goda, to mention a few. I've had the pleasure of working with a lot of founders, particularly artists, moving them from Web 2 to Web 3. But today we're going to talk to some really, really cool people who have transitioned their existing Web 2 companies into Web 3. So please, can we bring on stage Lisa from Mooning, Amanda from Penfolds, and Mo from MoWorks. Awesome. Let's dive into this so we have enough time to get some insightful questions out of the way. Guys, let's introduce yourselves, what you do, and how you got into Web3. Mo, do you want to start? We'll go this way.
Perfect, I will start. Thanks for having me first. Thank you for having me. My name is Mo. I'm founder of MoWorks, if you can tell. I'm part of two companies, MoWorks and Hatchquarter. With MoWorks, it's a creative agency based in Melbourne. We've been working a lot with B2B companies in helping them in three main things. Clarifying their branding position, helping them with communicating better their messages, and innovate or potentially see how can you make the best out of technology. And one of them was how to enter Web3.
Yeah.
And potentially along the years, we've been in this space since 2017, and we went with lots of the changes, the ups and falls of the industry, and we learned a lot, potentially from working with different clients, being in the space, seeing it, and being part of the community.
Great. Awesome. Thank you. Amanda?
Multiple microphones. Yes, so I'm the digital director for Penfolds. So I've had a long history in digital e-commerce from working at Nike, both Europe and Australia, but also L'Oreal here. And in my role at Penfolds is really sort of covering a wide variety of areas, so data, e-commerce, both owned and digital retail, program management, CRM loyalty, it goes on. But really, innovation is the fun part of what I do, and that's where sort of coming into Penfolds and looking at that long-term global digital strategy has really sort of evolved into Web3, and what does that mean for us as the next frontier?
Awesome. Lisa?
Hello, everyone. Ooh, that's loud.
No, it's good.
Way too loud. Firstly, thanks for being here, because you guys could all be at lunch, so I really appreciate that you've made time to come to our session. So my name's Lisa. I head up Mooning, which is it's on an OnlyFans company. Don't worry, I'm not going to flash you on stage. But it's a Web3 marketing company. So I actually, I also own a Web2 marketing company. I've been in the space in digital marketing for what feels like 100 years. It's been, I don't know, probably 8. I think I've aged significantly since then. But we really focus on helping brands accelerate and market in Web3, so Web3 native brands. And we're also really passionate about helping Web2 brands find their way in this really new and exciting space. So really excited to have a chat to everyone today.
Awesome. Thanks so much for the intros. And since we have a lot of brands and founders here who are interested in entering Web3 or already sort of going through that journey, I just wanted to inject a bit of positivity. So I wanted to ask you guys, what's your favorite thing about working in Web3?
Potentially really working in a whole new space. You know, it's being part of something getting built, being part of having a say, basically. It's like a white canvas, you know, there's still we don't know how the industry will turn up to be. We can take part of shaping regulation, having a say, like I believe potentially almost everyone here, or we just came into the internet and this is how it was, this is how it's regulated, this is how the industry is, and our part was just to participate. But with Web3, we actually have have a part to have a say in it, shape it, innovate in it, and we don't know where potentially all of us are going.
Yeah, I love that, being part of the journey. Yeah. Amanda, what's your favorite part?
I think it's similar for me. I mean, I will start by saying everything about this area is exciting to me because it's the potential, it's the opportunity for a brand, but also for a consumer. Just a whole new world of things. And it is about that journey. I do liken it to being back in e-commerce back in the day, showing my age. But yeah, when e-commerce was starting and kicking off, it's this whole sort of new thing. And I feel we're kind of on that precipice now here where things are going to go backwards, they're going to go forwards, they're going to change a bit. But in a couple of years or 10 years' time, this will be mainstream and normal. So it's really exciting. I mean, for me, the part I like about it day to day is actually leading a company into this new era, taking them through that strategy and what does it look like, but then also that education part, seeing that light bulb go off in people's heads when they also understand what Web3 is about, that potential, that opportunity and what it could mean, and that excitement you get from it, sharing that with other people. That's what I love about this area at the moment. It's really exciting.
I love that. Yeah, being at the forefront, leadership, education. Great. Lisa, what about yourself?
I don't want to say community because that's like super cliche, but outside community, and can I say the energy here's been incredible because I wasn't sure how it was going to be in the room and outside because of obviously what happened with bloody FTX. Thanks, Sam. And I actually went to New York for NFT NYC, and that was just after another crash. Am I a jinx? No, that was just right after the crypto crash early this year. And I felt like people were still really excited about the space. And so coming here over the past couple of days, I was actually really interested to see how people were feeling about Web3, crypto, blockchain, NFTs. And it's really exciting. Like, all of you in the room here and everyone here, like, we're all the ones that are serious about the space, and it's really great to see there are so many people who actually really believe in it because it's a really tough market at the moment. And I was at the talk before when Zenica was talking, he was saying that he's seeing really good projects now, and although there's probably a bit less interest in NFTs, the actual quality of the projects is fantastic, and we've definitely seen that in the inquiries that have come through at Mooning, because a couple of months ago there was literally every man and his dog trying to make $5 million by releasing 10,000 JPEGs and with zero utility. And now brands are approaching us, and a lot of Web2 brands, and they're actually saying, like, how can we enter the space? How can we help our customers go on the journey? And for me, that's really exciting because as a marketer, I've been in Web2 for a long time, it's really hard to do anything that's new and exciting and innovative. But in Web3, pretty much anything you do is new, not only in your country, but around the world. So this is really our chance to lead and not follow. And for me, that's a really huge opportunity.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, like energy attracts like energy. We're all creating all these wonderful relationships, and we've got a great platform here at NFT Fest to do so. So Amanda, I want to dive a little bit. We're going to get into your respective companies. I'll start with you. I want to dive into Penfolds. So how did Penfolds get into Web3? And I know you guys have the relationship with Blockbar, which is a marketplace for NFTs linked to beverages in the spirits category. So who approached who? And how has that relationship been?
So it's been a great relationship. They really focus on that high-end premium luxury area, which is where that relationship started. So they approached us because they were looking for those sort of globally renowned brands. And so it just happened to be a really fortuitous time where we were sort of sitting there going, hey, how do we get into this area? So that sort of relationship blossomed from there. And so it's been a great collaborative relationship in terms of working out. We've done 3 releases with them now. And it's really, each one has been different, and what are we trying to get after? So that first release that we did with them was a barrel of wine, which is interesting because that's not something you could do normally. We wouldn't do that day to day. We wouldn't sell a barrel of wine to someone. But to be able to do it in a Web3 environment where we sold them this NFT that is shortly actually going to become 300 NFTs when it's actually bottled into 300 separate bottles of wine. So that's a really sort of interesting take on it, which is something new and different for us that we wouldn't have done before. So that sold out, like it was 130,000 US at the time in 10 seconds. So huge sort of capital raising, but it wasn't about the money, it was actually about just doing something different and that talkability with it. And it's not just about the product either, it was also about experience. So linked to that barrel of wine is the opportunity to have a private session with Peter Gago, our chief winemaker. So there's all these sorts of things that go with it that make it really interesting and sort of exclusive to that. And so following on from that, we did sort of a launch of 300 bottles of wine, but the difference around that was about gifting NFTs. So how do you buy it and actually just gift it to someone else? So taking it to another level of sort of wine. And then finally just a different product of an imperial sort of bottle as well. So just doing new and exclusive things with them in a really collaborative and interesting way, just to test the market. It's been great from that perspective, getting the data and really understanding who's playing in that area globally. Where are we seeing the uptake, which is US, for anyone who wants to know. US and Australia are the key markets for us in that area. So what can we learn from that, and how can we use that to inform what we do in the future?
Yeah, awesome. I love how with wine, it's a really tangible result. Like you get an NFT, but then you see the utility, you see the value there. It's people can just visualize it, and it's a really great way to explain, hey, this is what moving into Web3 might mean, moving to NFTs. So we've talked about this sort of phygital goods, right? So Penfolds has explored going into that area. What are some of the other positive impacts for, like, say, your customers or your brand, innovating new products? What are some of the other positive impacts of going phygital?
Yeah. So for us, this is actually the really exciting part of it for me, because yes, there's a lot of stuff we can do as a brand in Web3. You've got all your metaverse, your things like that. But when it comes to that phygital part of it, that's where we can really sort of show that true value. Because for me, it's exciting from a customer and a consumer point of view, in terms of they can see sort of maybe the transparency of information. So NFTs or that sort of blockchain enable us to say, hey, this grape was grown on this block. It was actually then created by this winemaker. It was then bottled here. And you've got all of that transparency when you buy that bottle. So that's the first part of it, but then you've got that authenticity around it as well. So a lot of high-end luxury goods have that issue of fraud or imitation product. Well, if we have this NFT associated with that product, we can actually show that supply chain. We can then also, up to the point of purchase, from that, when it's traded and who it's going to and where it's sort of been traded to, whether it's sold or shipped, that's also visible to that consumer, so they get that real authentic link to the product that they've bought, which is really exciting. And then finally, that collector part of it. I mean, there's a lot of people who are trying to get into the collecting of wine. Imagine if you spent $1,000 on a bottle of Grange, but you've got nowhere to store it. Is that really something you want to invest in? Because that could be worth 10, 20,000, but hey, I don't know where to store that. I don't have the right conditions. If I can buy an NFT, have the NFT, but it never actually leaves, say, Penfolds house in McGill and stays there the whole time until it's actually consumed. Either I can keep it there for 20 years, see it appreciate in value, I have the NFT that certifies that authenticity for me, or I can trade it to anyone globally in the world, which is pretty exciting. And it's only at that point that they redeem it, is it actually shipped to them. So the opportunities for a consumer around this sort of area are really exciting for me.
So fascinating. I love how you've tapped into the different capabilities of blockchain to do like traceability and stuff like that, and then also new customer segments. That's really cool. Lisa, you've done so much prior to Mooning in Web2 with digital marketing, PR campaigns with Cody Agency. Now with Mooning, what do you think are the differences in marketing between like Web2 and Web3?
I feel like I could talk for about an hour. I'm going to get kicked off stage soon. So I'll probably focus on the acceleration of brand equity. So I would say that one of the things that really excites me about Web3 is this concept that they're really focused on giving commercial rights to holders, say for NFT projects, which I believe is a massive game changer. Because if you think about it, say if Nike releases an NFT, all of a sudden you don't get to use the Nike branding or the Nike swoosh. So if you've got a project like Bored Apes, for example, they give commercial rights to actually their holders, so then they can start to utilize the artwork to create restaurants and clothing and beauty lines. And so all of a sudden you don't just have one entity driving the IP of a brand, you've got, say, potentially 10,000 creative minds. So that's why they've been able to go from a valuation of 0 to 5 billion in 1.5 years, which is honestly very difficult in Web 2. Now, I think one of the challenging things for Web 2 brands is that they have a very strict hold over their IP. So it's not, they're not going to all of a sudden just go, okay, great, we're Disney, we're going to just release a Mickey Mouse NFT and everyone can have fun with Mickey Mouse's IP. So I think one of the things that brands can do to really potentially drive new IP and create new IP is, do an NFT but create a new sub-brand. So that means that they can have control over their main brand, but they can potentially start to give ownership and creative freedom to the community for this little sub-brand. So that's a really great way to actually still drive their main brand without losing any of that IP and copyright control. But then, I feel like potentially open up their whole audience to a new demographic of crypto native people or people that are wanting to explore the space. So I'd say, yeah, definitely brand equity is something really exciting that I'm looking forward to seeing more of.
Awesome, great answer. And I think it'd be really interesting to get into an example of like an in real life activation that you guys have done at Mooning. So what's been your favorite so far? And also, I guess, what's something that Web2 brands should consider as they get into Web3?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we actually just did an NFT art exhibit with the Pullman Hotel Group, which are part of the Accor Global Group. And that's actually going to be in Melbourne at the start of January, so definitely go and have a look at that. But they wanted to use their platform to help their audience move into Web3, but also shine a light on Indigenous and emerging female artists all around the world. So there's actually going to be art featured from incredible creators, which will be on display in the hotels. So for us, we got to, Dave, my business partner, and I went to Sydney for the launch of that, and it was honestly so fun. I think the Pullman people thought I was working at the hotel, because every time a random person who was staying there would walk in and go, "What's this?" I'd be like, "Have you heard of an NFT? Have you heard of Web3?" They're like, "Do you work here?" I'm like, "No, but I can tell you all about it." And it was for a lot of people who were just walking through the hotel, staying there. It was their first ever experience with NFTs. And one of the hard things about NFTs is it's really hard when you first jump into the space to even grasp the concept of it. You're like, what is an NFT? It doesn't really make sense. But when I start to tell people that really when you break it down, it's like digital membership, or it's digital art, digital ownership, like it starts to really make a lot more sense, because I think the term NFT is almost a little bit scary, and people just go, "Oh, I don't know what that is. It sounds like a little bit too technologically savvy, or it sounds a little bit hard to understand." But really at the core of it, it really, Web3 just allows us to trace ownership digitally. So once you realize that, there's massive opportunities for brands to come into the space. So if you're an existing brand, a Web2 brand, have a think about whether you've got an existing audience that you can tap into. So it could be a social audience, could be your email database. Have a think about what IP you own, what utility or benefits you could provide holders. Have a think about whether you want to go into the metaverse. There's so many different considerations. But what I will say is we're at the dawn of this new technology. So I've been in marketing for a while now, and it's very rare that you get the chance to really be at the dawn of something new like this. So if you're a marketer out there, if you're a brand or someone exploring the space, like this is your opportunity to actually lead the world. And I know for me that just gave me goosebumps. But I hope for and all of you obviously here because you believe in the space, you're excited by it. Like go out there and explore it. Like make mistakes. Buy an NFT, buy some crypto, but just get your hands dirty, because that's going to be the quickest way to actually learn. And for a lot of us, we're super lucky because we're building in the space every single day, 24/7. I don't think I've slept for about a year, but it's such a great time to be leading the world, and that's not an opportunity you get a lot in your lifetime. So I would 100% encourage every single person here today to just see how they can get active in the space more.
Well said. That was very inspiring, and definitely, check out the Pullman hotels. I think seeing something in real life gives you a lot of ideas and inspiration. Thanks, Lisa. So Mo, you've got your creative agency. You also work with a lot of entrepreneurs at Hatch Quarter. I'm interested, once people move from Web 2 to Web 3, it's not only an individual journey. You've got to upskill your team with you so that they can better serve customers. How have you found that with your team, upskilling them? How has that journey been?
Well, with the upskilling, it's a long journey. I remember our first project in 2017. I'm not sure if anyone remember it, called Kenya. The Kenya team came to us and they said, "Hey Mo, we like what you guys are doing. We used to be active in export marketing, international marketing, etc." And he said, "We want you to help us market our ICO." And I was like, "What is an ICO?" I said, yeah, we're creating a token. We're going to be launching it soon, and we need help in marketing. We need help in creating communities in Telegram, in Discord, we need multiple languages, a lot of things. And honestly, my first reaction was, I don't think we can help you, to be honest. We're happy to build your brand and website. This was the other request they had. But with the marketing Telegram, I told him we don't do it. And he said, his name is JP Thor. He said, Mo, I don't think you understand what you're rejecting here. Like I'm potentially giving an opportunity to be one of the first agencies in Australia who does blockchain marketing. For two reasons. First, I like what you guys are doing. Second, you will not be able to charge me how much overseas blockchain companies are currently charging, but I will help you get there. I said, all right, well, let's try. What sort of budget? We spoke. He started showing me proposals of agencies overseas who specialize in blockchain at the time. It's 2017, June maybe. So it's, the head of ICOs at the time. And so, okay, that's good, like the numbers and everything. Yes, we are in. And I said, okay, before we start, we need to upskill the whole team. Mm-hmm. I said, okay, I'm all in. And we start having sessions with the client. There were 4 guys, super active. I have no idea where they are at the moment. First, he told me, take this. This is your cold wallet. I said, okay, what should I do with the cold wallet? He said, I will help you set up everything. Let's create your wallet. Let's buy your first Ethereum. He's a big Ethereum fan, was in Bitcoin. And let's buy in the first ICO. I said, okay, let's do it. We went there, download my wallet, purchased Ethereum, then went to an ICO. It was second round, whatever at the time. We purchased, and I said, okay, what's next? He said, now we wait for it to finish the sale, hit the exchange, and then you're going to start selling. I said, okay, cool. And all of this, we're a team of, at the time, we're a team of 15, and everyone from the team start having their wallet, purchase an ICO, etc. So imagine how much we're learning. And we have our normal clients who we start, we're having a cool things happening here. So we start ignoring other projects. Not ignoring, but you know how the love can shift sometimes. And started, we then, through Kenya, start traveling with them. Mm-hmm. We went to event Singapore, Hong Kong, and I've started seeing, okay, this is massive. We used to go in events in Singapore 2017, there's honestly more than 5,000 in an event. Everyone is there, everyone is excited, lots of things to learn, and so, okay, this is big. And while with this client, we start signing up more clients, and each one coming with a new idea. Okay, we are doing this. We are doing invoice financing for X. Every client coming with a new idea. Again, we're reshaping all the industries. There's many opportunities. So, yeah, I mean,
deep diving into it, bringing the team along with you in that experience, yeah.
But I mean, at the end, to answer your question, the biggest learning curve is really the power of communities. Mm-hmm. Because the idea is, what made up Kenya ICO at the time is the success, or other projects we've done, like Sping and Indoors. I'm not sure familiar with some of the ICOs at the time, is really all the power of the communities. We had massive, we had 50,000 people in one channel every day asking questions, participating, sharing, you put something, okay guys, we need your help to promote this. And you have suddenly 10,000 people willing to empower this project, talk about it, bring more people in, because they understand. The more we are in, the more people are aware of this, the more chances this project can happen and survive, etc. So I believe the power of community is definitely one of the biggest things we as a team we learned, and now we use it to support companies in the web, let's say in B2B space. Mm-hmm. Lots of learning we took from the blockchain space, Web3, and now we're trying to apply it elsewhere, and it's working in an amazing way.
Absolutely. Yeah, education seems to be a really key component. Folks, I think keep going? Okay, cool. I did want to tap into sort of each of you and ask for sort of the audience here who are sitting on the verge or are sort of in the environment that we're in the bear market. Maybe people are a little bit hesitant getting into Web3 or fully going into Web3 with their offerings. What's some advice that you would give them? Lisa, maybe we'll start with you first.
I would definitely say, I mean, like I'm very much that person that jumps off a cliff and builds a plane on the way down. So I would as much as David probably wants to kill me, who works with me. But I would say that, like, as I said before, like this is a really unique time in history where we get the chance to write history. So, you know, if you sort of get one chance at living, I don't know if we come back in another life, but why wouldn't you want to do that? So I would say that because you're here today and you've taken time out of your busy schedules and your days to learn about the space and immerse yourself in the space, why not just give it a go in some way, shape or form? Now, I would say that, like, you know, you don't have to jump all in. Like, I'm very much an all or nothing personality, so I'm all in on the space, but, you know, just start to experiment, talk to people, build networks. This is honestly, like, Greg, Steve, Rochelle, like, you've done an incredible job putting this together because, you know, for me, I didn't realise there was such a big community of people immersed in the space in Australia, let alone Melbourne. I know people have come from all around Australia and the world to come here today. So I would say that, you know, make the most of this opportunity and talk to people who are building, because I'm not going to lie, like, it is tough out there. You know, we are in a tough market. There is people who are really still skeptical about the space. So, you know, we need as many voices as possible to keep educating and talking about it, because the reality is a lot of people who say it's a scam, they actually just don't understand the technology. And, you know, when you start to, you know, push past the JPEGs of apes and the pixelated images, you actually start to look at the technology and go, wow, this is going to change the world. It's going to change the way we work, live and play. So you have a chance to actually be a part of history and write, you know, the next iteration of the internet. So I'd encourage all of you out there to play your part in doing that. I feel like I need to do a mic drop now.
Maybe just pass it this way, gently. I feel this is a personality test because you're jumping off a cliff and building a plane, whereas I'm actually probably going to do the opposite, which is actually say to take your time. But really learn about the area. I agree absolutely on that one. But from a business point of view, I think there's a lot of people I talk to who are like, we're so far behind, we need to get up, we need to get there quickly, we need to do this now. It's like, actually you don't. You need to think about it. What does your consumer want from you? What are they looking for? What problem are you actually trying to solve? Same as you develop anything in the digital area, what is that problem you're trying to solve, and how can then what you've learned about Web3, how can that help you solve it? I think that's really important to sort of establish and then work out what that roadmap is. How are you going to get there? How are you going to deliver all these things to these consumers? I think that's really important to work out that roadmap and how you're going to get after it. But more importantly, Web3 is about community, right? So start with your community, start with your base, and really work from that forward before you start sort of jumping all in.
Yeah, great answers. Mo?
I heard a great advice yesterday from Leanne Batts, who I work with her on a new project called Atlas to Blue, and she said, participate, then you can come back and create. So participate in the community with your business, try to understand how things are going, what's happening, what kind of problems are there that you can be passionate about so you can solve it, or what kind of new ideas you can experience, enjoy, and I believe I can bring this experience to our, let's say, fan base or our customers. Instead of jumping in all in and try to do think that you know it all, it's a different space, new expectation, and yeah, I mean, participating will let you understand more how people are, what kind of community you are in, etc. So, and take step by step. There's a lot of time. You know, it's just starting. You're not missing anything. You don't need to rush it. You can participate for 5 years and start building in 5 years. It's going to happen eventually.
Amazing. Yeah, lots of participation, getting deep diving, but also educating yourselves. And make sure if you folks are getting into Web3 to connect with these speakers because they've been there, they've done that, they have a lot of experience. And thanks so much for your insights and give it up for our speakers.
Thanks, everyone.